And that was the last dream of the old oak, the story about a tree from beginning to end. And once again, it offers most of its lessons by the end. I'm going to leave the poem in frame as I switch my graphics. It is such a huge difference after all. You must know that we are in the discussion phase of the stream. So, I honestly don't have a lot to say. Um, because it made it, the story made itself very obvious by the end, but also because it was a particularly difficult read, and I honestly probably missed some parts of it. To be, if I have to be honest, oh man, some of these paragraphs are just they just run forever. You know, at one point I was reading and I was just imagining if writing this down in a piece of text and then giving it to someone. And first of all, any spell checker nowadays would just fill the entire paragraph with a huge line and ask about the run-on sentence and suggest about sentence fragments to reduce them. I mean, to reduce the run-on sentence to make it into different sentence. It would also complain about sentence fragments and suggest fixes for that. It would complain about a lot of these semicolons and whatnot. Yeah, the spell checkers would not appreciate the story at all, and neither would any editor. I just can't imagine something written like this being published nowadays, or at least catching the interest of any literary agent or editor or anything, really. It's just such block of text after block of text. So I had a pretty hard time. But from what I could gather, this is a story of a tree. It features a lot the perspectives, the old comparison between us. We live approximately 80 years. Meanwhile, dogs live a lot half of that, approximately. And that's not talking about flies and insects, which live so much less. And it is an exercise to really consider that, to really think about what that means. The all these metaphors and these comparisons really made me think about a quote from Neil Gaiman's Sandman, where someone is talking to Death, and they ask Death if they are going to have enough, if they're going to be happy with how much they have to live, how much time they live for, and Death says, you'll get the same thing everyone gets, which is one lifetime. And this story deals with that, because the tree lasts hundreds and hundreds of years, so much so that it becomes a navigation beacon. And meanwhile, the tree talks with insects that last a single day, if not less. So that's a thing in this story. But then the tree is also a metaphor for Jesus Christ in the whole Christian mythos. The way it gets sacrificed, and it serves as a navigational beacon, but more in terms of speaking morally. And while the tree mainly, there we go. The tree serves as a very physical and visual metaphor. But the way the tree talks about all of the things that are gone and past, and the joy that it has, that's the part that makes me think it's a metaphor for Jesus Christ. It's well, first of all, it talks about the God's eternal kingdom and etc. But it also talks about how much the tree wants to be surrounded by everyone else, and bless them with its what's the floral metaphor here? Some kind of technical biological term, like a part of the tree that it shares with. Crabapple blooms so beautiful. You can tell by my voice I'm not very interested in this story. I mean, it seems like on-demand Christmas tale. Like someone asked this guy, I want a new Christmas story. And so the guy writes some story about this tree, does an obvious metaphor, puts the parenthesis, Christmas story, just so there's no doubt, and calls it a day. But anyway, let's see. Cleaning his wings with his legs, every bird was singing as well as it could. Sounds and songs of joys and gladness rose up to heaven. There's a lot of worship, visuals and kind of narrations and descriptions to this. The more we near the end, the more worship like the descriptions and the moments get. Trying to find Schilder's lover's eyes with met under the tree was a marvelous moment, so full of joy and delight, and yet the mist all destroyed. The tree felt a desire, a longing wish that all the other trees down in the wood, all the bushes, all the herbs and the flowers might be able to rise with it, see all this splendor and feel this joy. So, the metaphor, the tree wants all the other trees to be as big as it is, to reach the same kind of heights and to have the same perception, glorious perception of everything beneath it, because the tree was so large, as described by the story, that it can see endless fields of green and happiness and joy and blah 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 blah. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just it seems pretty cut and dry. Like I said, it really does give the impression of a story written by the man. So I'm not hugely impressed. It's well written. I mean, the writer knows what he's doing, despite the freaking I really don't like so many blocks of texts. But yeah, whatever. It's okay. I mean, I would tell it to kids. It's a nice story, and then they'll ask what you mean, and then you can just hammer them with some Christian morality and lessons and stuff, and kind of navigate away from the story. What I'm really interested in is this. This will be the first story that is kind of famous. I think we all know why. I'm looking forward to it. It seems to be very big, so probably tomorrow I will be on earlier, and I'll go on a particularly long session. I'll have to prepare water, and for a longer session. I'll have to prepare myself for a longer session with some water, some eye drops, some shenanigans. I'll definitely take a bit longer preparing light. I gotta get better lighting. There's gotta be a way. It's tricky because if you get the light closer, it just starts freaking reflecting too shiny because the sheets of paper are too white. Oh, but that's actually good. That's actually way better. Well, tomorrow. We always have tomorrow. Thank you for listening. I apologize that this today wasn't a good one for the story. The story wasn't that great. I had fun doing the voices. The dialogues are always much easier to read than the run-on sentences, like just the non-stop. That's what I thought. Look at this part. Just the lighting and this and then this contrast here. It's tricky to figure out the lighting. Anyway, like just run on, just non-stop. Look at this thing, man. It's crazy. And this thing starts here, goes up here, then starts here and goes until here and then starts here and just over and over again. Huge sentences, and sometimes they don't even use comma. They just use these mid-sentence words like while and since and words like that, which can connect sentences, and you're supposed to imagine a comma is in there, but it's hard to when you're reading live and for the first time. It was kind of annoying. All right, final verdict. Let me see. I know this is definitely one of my least favorites, so I'm going to go, since this was a very short one, I'm just going to go and take out the lights, give a short summary of what my impressions have been of the stories. Emperor's New Clothes, pretty interesting. Holds up to what I've always heard. There's not a lot difference there. I bet the Little Mermaid is going to be hugely different. Um, the Rose Elf, very pretty poetry. I liked it. I would read again. The Storks, didn't much like it. The Daisy, also very poetic. I really liked the Daisy. Was just really, really well written, and it's the kind of story they you start reading 2 paragraphs in, you're smiling and you're just smiling throughout the whole thing. It's very neat. The Buckwheat, kind of whatever. I hardly even remember what it was, what happens in this one. The Nightingale, I really liked about the bird. It's what the cover is based off. It has a lot of morals, a lot of lessons, so I really liked the Elfin Hill. Kind of fun, but meh, I'll never read it again. The Saucy Boy. Oh, that was the Cupid fan fiction. Well, I wouldn't be interested in reading again. The Steadfast Teen Soldier, probably would never read again, but I would if I had the kids, and this is a good story to read to kids, I think, because it's about dealing with tragedy and holding fast and staying true to who you are and what you want, and not giving up and not giving into despair, staying steadfast. The Flax, kind of repetitive, very repetitive. This was the most repetitive story of them all in terms of the lesson that it's hammering. The Swineherd was okay. Yeah, not the kind, like, this was the one that I had the most trouble with so far discussing, because it is so hinging on men and women things, which just not a good topic to talk about nowadays, as insane as that is. Holger Danske, some Nordic story. It was alright, I guess, especially if you're from Norway, you're gonna like it. If you're interested in Norway, you're probably gonna like it. You can learn a lot. The Flying Trunk, pretty fun. This is what I would think Classic Fairy Tale to be. This and the Steadfast Teen Soldier are the most fairy tale-like stories so far. The Fir Tree, I liked it. The Darning Needle, was okay. Big Klaus and Little Klaus was a lot of fun. And today was, yeah, so this is probably the, I think the Buckwheat would be the only one that I like less than this one. The Last Dream of the Old Woke. Not a fan. So tomorrow, the Little Mermaid special edition. But for today, that's going to be it for the stream. I hope you had a good time. Oops, as you can imagine, all the VODs are available in this channel. You can always check on the stream from the start if you missed the story, if you missed the earlier points, etc., etc. I read in this channel. I am reading Classic Fairy Tales by Hans Christian Andersen. Today was The Last Dream of the Old Oak. You can also catch all of this stuff on YouTube. I try and upload almost every day. So same name as you can see in the Twitch, which is Cuscopia. You can also look in the YouTube. In fact, Cuscopia is just going to be me on every social network everywhere in the internet, I'm pretty sure. For now, it's only me, but in the future there will be more. Anyway, this is Cuscopia signing out. Bye bye.